Welcome back to the competitive Esports series.
The absolute carnage on this final lap. 5 red lights here in Miami. Can they regain that place?
I cannot believe my eyes.
Who comes out on top? Down the inside into Casio Triangle. This could end in disaster.
Zach Miles taking the lead. It was an all-or-nothing approach for the TF10 team.
And this could be crucial for NVR.
A race to remember with Jeremy Gallagher.
And they are officially the champions of the season.
It does not get closer than that. What a race. What a season.
Okay, hello, good evening and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to the competitive speed series. While Byron is fixing his microphone as we speak, we're back in business and we have arrived past the halfway point. And that is tonight the Trek of Mexico. A bit of a similar trek as last week. We had Austria there. Brilliant race from start to finish. A lot of drama by the end of it and a lot of incident reports that came with it as well. A lot of steward investigations came with that afterwards, and we have some interesting news on those terms. But before we go to that, Byron, is everything correct already?
Yes. I have no idea why this keeps happening. It's really beginning to annoy me now. But hey, we roll with the punches week in, week out. But we're in for a real good one tonight. I'm really looking forward to this one. Mexico is such a good circuit. Probably similar to Austria, one of my favourites. I can't say every track's my favourite, sure. But this is probably one of my favourite tracks as well as where we went last time out for Austria. Both very similar, really fun, absolute vibes, always a bit of carnage. You can't go wrong.
Exactly that. And where we can't go wrong either is in the standings as we speak. Things have gotten a little bit closer again, as where FVR managed to take a little bit of a bigger lead over TF10 before Austria, I should say. TF10 have clawed back quite a large amount of points. They've halved the gap once again, back to 20 points precisely. 252 for FVR versus 232 towards Team TF10. A bit further down the standings, TES is sitting in third. However, and that is the thing I was going to get to now, is the steward decisions have resulted in some bans. A race ban, for example, for the TES team, meaning that they will be one man down this entire session. Only Damien Carril will be driving for the TES team. We also have some qualifying bans, I believe, for TF10, which could be very important and very crucial for them, and especially FVR. And also for TTM, they also have to serve that qualifying ban. All the other teams are safe. And we can also see 4th, 5th, and 6th with NLR, TTM, and ET8 are very close together after ET8's spectacular win last week with Aryan Senga. So yeah, there's a lot to play for still. Exciting at the top, exciting in the midfield, and of course EVE had a podium last week after some penalty handouts, managing to get P3 right there. So they've closed the gap down to VRM in 9th. So yeah, exciting all over the place.
as you say, very well summarised. Talking points pretty much everywhere you look in this field. It's always brilliant when we can rock up to an event and everything's changed from the last one. It can be a nightmare sometimes for us, but it could also throw that exact surprise into the mix that we are looking for. So good to be back, ladies and gentlemen, for yet another round. I've been told to turn my microphone up an absolute bunch, which I'm going to do now, so hopefully I'm easier to hear. But I am super duper looking forward to Mexico. It's, as I said, such a good track. Very similar to Austria last time out. Does that give us maybe the smallest of inklings as to pace? Maybe, but we'll have to wait and see until qualifying. 18 minutes of that. And then 36 laps in the race, the same as last time out in Austria.
Yep, and I think now is a good time to introduce the drivers tonight. We've got 19 then, as TS are one man down. For VRM, we've got the usual duo of Jeremy Gallagher. You will see a different Steam name for him, so don't get confused with that one. Tristan Derbecourt alongside him once again. For FVR, we've got familiar names as well. We've got Tony Hitala, and we've got the return of Justin Arts in the Mercedes there as well, so they are back in business there. For ABS, we've got Exafox and Marvin Golm in the Saubers. TF10 have gotten Mark Schluter and Thomas Laminen in the Red Bulls. For the Aston Martins, the ETA team, we've got Patrick Dagmeyer and Marcel Pabst, two Austrians in the car there tonight. Lighty and Campbell Adams for TTM. And then for NLR, we've got Lewis Jones, Stephen Vasso. AMR have gotten Alex Lamas and Aaron Raminges once again in the team. And EVE have gotten Vuk Gaika and Trisk from last week as well in the Alpine car. So all in all, a very interesting grid for this race.
Yes, we do love an interesting grid and an interesting track as well. Flowing corners, very fast track, one of the longest straights as well, where these cars really do hit the top end of the speed. The air so thin around here that to get, they run really high wings because they will still absolutely blast down the straights. No problem whatsoever, but we are just about to get underway for 18 minutes of qualifying here. And I am really looking forward to this 18 minutes of qualifying. It's a track where you can really overtake quite nice and easily, but it is also a track where your qualifying position is quite important. So if you're in third place, you're probably in the best position, but, whoa, that is not what I expected. Let's take you trackside, as I struggle to find the right button. It is, surely that's monsoon conditions. What on earth?
Everybody is sitting on the intermediate tires in the pit lane at the moment, so apparently the game, at least, thinks it's not that wet here in Mexico just yet. However, it looks like it's absolutely pouring down from our point of view, so we'll have to see what the drivers think, because what they think matters far more than what the game thinks about these conditions. What we know for certain is that DRS is going to be absolutely disabled for this session, or at least this point onwards. I'm looking at the telemetry, and it says that the entire qualifying is going to be wet, and if we actually continued on to the race, it would have been pretty much a thunderstorm all the way to the end of it. So it's a big shame we're going to have to restart this time round. So let's see what the restart is going to do. First out, Lewis Jones for NLR. That's a bit of an odd one out. Usually it's Jeremy Gallagher quick to the asphalt, but this time it's one of the NLR cars. Let's see what they can do. Second out, Tony Hitala, followed by Exafox. They're all delaying themselves a little bit, trying to figure out the conditions, which tires are best, but it looks like everybody's gambling the intermediates for now.
Yeah, I think that's probably a safe gamble to be at this point. The weather is only downhill from here. It's raining at the moment. It's going to thunderstorm later on within the next 15 minutes or so, according to the graphic on your screen at the moment, giving you that lovely, lovely weather conditions. But really interesting. I think everybody was really hesitant to come out of the pit lane. They wanted to really take a bit of time to get a setup here that's going to work. I don't think they were expecting wet conditions, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but that's what they've got, and that's what they're going to have to deal with over the next 16 minutes of this qualifying session, and Lewis Jones is going to be the first man to try and tackle them here as he takes towards this lovely, beautiful lap time here, and he begins the first flying lap. No DRS, of course, as, you can tell why. The track is just a little bit on the soggy side, but Lewis Jones nicely all the way down towards turn number 1, taking it very gingerly, but that is exactly what we're going to expect for all of these drivers on their first flying runs, taking it very careful and cautiously, but putting a bit of power down on the exit now as we're heading towards Sector 2, which is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, this is going to be the interesting bit. But try follow Lewis Jones on board for a little bit to see how tricky the conditions are at the moment. If it's true that there's going to be a thunderstorm by the end of qualifying, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody is going to set a lap time early on in the session. Just fill their fuel tanks up a lot more than usual and just keep driving around in circles. It looks like Lewis Jones doing quite a swell job through Sector 2. A little bit of wobble here and there, but not too bad overall at all. 1 minute 2.349 then at the end of sector number 2. Then the stadium section still to go. Still some tricky corners here as well, including the last one of turn 17. Exiting the stadium right there. Whoa, another bit of a wobble there in turn 15 and 16. And then only this particular corners remaining past the pit lane entry. A lot of wheel spin coming out of the final corner. First lap time is at 1 minute 24.1. It's a little bit difficult to say whether it is quick. For now, though, I'd say several drivers are probably going to be quicker than that particular lap. I think Tony Hitala is trying again. He hasn't been able to set a lap time just yet. Exafox, same thing. No, never mind. He managed to go faster than Lewis Jones already. 1 minute 23.7. Then next across the line is Lewis Jones's teammate Steven Vaso through the final corner across the line. 1 minute 24.008. Slightly faster than his teammate. Then next up the two McLarens for VRM. Jeremy Gallagher 23.9. Tristan Derbecourt for 24.3. VRM really need a good result because they can see EVE getting ever closer and closer now with their brilliant result from last week. So they've got to up their game. There comes Thomas Laminen, P7 for now, 24.3. And Marcel Papst there in the middle of between them. A lot of drivers coming in on a hot lap right now, including, I believe, Justin Arts returning to the FVR team. There he is. Squeezes himself nicely onto the front row, followed by one of the EVE cars of Trisk, slotting himself in 7th.
Yeah, it's looking very good. Very difficult to keep track of all of these cars at this point in qualifying because some people are on out laps, some people are on in laps. It's pretty much carnage everywhere you look at the moment, but Alex Lamas around the final corner at the moment, taking it very cautiously there as he goes only 12. But Aaron Dominguez, brilliant lap time from his teammate there to go P1 at the moment. But, wow, that is a margin. 8 tenths of a second, Campbell Adams. You got to wonder if he has a good wet setup for this track. And I wonder if he could be sharing his secrets with his teammate Lighty as well, who is also going to want to find, hopefully, a little bit of form tonight. He's not left the pit lane yet. Marvin Golm, though, next across the line.
Yeah, I believe TTM is going, Lighty is going to serve the qualifying ban for his team because they've got one like TF10, so that's why Mark Schluter has retired already. Marvin Golm has just come across the line slowest of the lot. Vuk Geiger had this, completely ruined his previous lap, so he's going to have to try again, but there's still plenty of time remaining, so no problem for him just yet. And I wonder if Campbell Adams' lap time is indeed due to setup, or maybe the track evolving a little bit, although Marvin's lap time suggests the opposite, that the track is actually devolving. So it's still hard to guess. Of course, they will pick a wet setup because they're going to restart anyway, meaning that they can easily select a new one. Come race day indeed. Damien Carril then, on his way. The only TES driver present tonight. Only one Williams car on track as he goes onto the back straight, headed towards turn 4 and 5. And there we go. Lighty has retired to serve the qualifying band properly. 30.749 then for Damien Carril through sector number 1. Then, of course, comes the tricky bit. Let's see what the track has done to the grip level as he goes through turns number 5 and 6. Still looking quite stable with quite a lot of wheel spin as expected. Then missing the apex coming into turn 7 and 8 already. Let's see if he can manage a little bit better then. Well, it's starting to look quite difficult indeed as he approaches the end of sector number 2. 1 minute 2.1. It, I believe, is slightly faster than Lewis Jones's previous lap time, who has improved to now a 23.4. Damien Carril then through the final few corners. It's quite the struggle to keep the car pointing in the correct direction indeed. Then one more corner to go as Patrick Dagmeyer goes into second place. Damien Carril improves to a whopping P5 for his team, and that is good news for Thomas Enge Racing.
Yeah, that's good at all, but look at Trice, who's just gone second. I think the track's evolving quite a lot here.
It is.
And we're seeing that in these lap times. Look at the Aaron Raminguez at one point was P1. He's now 8th. Just a couple of minutes later, he's about to finish a flying lap time here. Can he respond when everybody else has taken a real lap time? He's gone up to 3rd. His teammate's gone up to 6th. So healthy improvements from a lot of the field here. Was that expected? Well, the weather radar said no, but clearly reality and the weather radar aren't quite agreeing with one another because there is a lot of track evolution happening here. And, well, it really does open the floodgates, quite literally, for anything to happen in the remaining of this session. Wout Geka up to the line now. Where can he go? He only goes 10th there, so not the lap time he would have wanted, but still got 9 minutes left on the clock. Plenty of time for things to change here as Marcel Pabst into the pit lane, as well as his teammate Patrick Dagmeyer. Not many people left to cross the line.
No, there's several guys on their way. Thomas Laminen is one of them. And I believe both VRM drivers are currently on a hot lap as well. Let's switch to the front one. That is Jeremy Gallagnier as Tony Hitala goes fastest by quite a margin again, 7/10ths quicker than Campbell Adams' previous lap time. So the expectations then for the TTM driver are getting quite high. There goes Jeremy Gallagnier through sector 2, 1 second quicker already through the middle sector alone. So that means indeed the track is getting faster, and my telemetry actually says that the rain is decreasing. So several weather radars are disagreeing already. Promising for their Gallagnier through the final. Just allows him to improve to a 22.666, 1.3 seconds per. Next to cross the line is Campbell Adams to slap. So, since he went 7/10ths faster previously than anybody else, can he do the same thing again, Byron? Let's find out.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what Campbell Adams can do here as he takes towards that tricky turn 1, 2, and 3. Going to be even more sketchy in these conditions. Really difficult to take this nice and quickly, but beautiful from TTM there as Exafox there back up into second place, very close to Tony Kietler as well. But Campbell Adams doing a really nice job at the moment. 2 tenths improved in that first sector. He's got, as we said earlier on, about 7 tenths to try and find across this lap. Can he find it in this sector 2 and 3? This is where you can gain a lot of time around the lap. Very tricky, very technical corners and all. A little bit of desync there as he goes across the curb, causing meter. I think he's gone a little bit awry there during that sequence, but taken very, very nicely indeed. Now 5.5 tenths improvement. That's a purple sector 2. He's on a good lap time. He's ran a bit wide there, but that's not invalidated his lap time. Very surprising, but the lap time will stand as now he goes through those final couple of bends. What will it be for Campbell Adams? He comes into the pit lane. Not worth setting. Must have lost a bit of time there. But was looking like a very good lap time that could have taken him back up towards the top.
Yeah, Marvin Golm improving to P12 as Campbell Adams is going to recharge the batteries, get some extra fuel, potentially a new set of tires for the final bit of qualifying. I think tonight timing is going to be absolutely crucial. The later you go out, as it seems, the better chance you have at a provisional pole position or an actual pole position. And it looks like literally any driver tonight has a shot at this pole position. We see Exafox currently sitting in 6th place, only half a tenth away from Tony Hitala. We see Jeremy Gallagher sitting in P3, Alex sitting in P4. Those names you really don't usually see fronted when there's predictable conditions. So still a game. Any driver coming in right now, waiting for that final push with less than but I don't think anyone is, unless I'm missing something. Maybe the ETA drivers?
Yeah, ETA, I think, are having a bit of a difficult qualifying at the moment. I think Patrick Dagmeyer is on a flying lap at the moment.
Yeah, Marcel as well.
Yeah, they're both on a flying lap at the moment. Be interesting to see what they can do. Noticing that Exafox has selected soft compound tyres. Don't think we'll be seeing those. I mean, be interesting to see if we do, but the conditions don't really seem to be permitting that at all. But Patrick Dagmeyer doing a nice job at the moment in this qualifying. Marcel Pamps to the top of the timesheets into the 1:21s, but his teammates also on a really good lap time that could take him to a similar...
3 now has a lap time with half-tenth of the other. Tristan Derbecourt just went fastest overall, and I believe one of the AMR cars, yeah, that's Aaron Ramirez, is about to cross the line. 8/10 quicker through Sector 2 across the line. No surprises there with Aaron Ramirez going fastest overall. 1:21.6. This man is quite the all-round driver. No matter what, he can be quick everywhere. Just needs a bit better race results alongside his qualifying performances, and then his picture is pretty much complete. Next name to cross the line is one of the EVE drivers. That's Vuk Gaika, currently sitting in a last position out of all qualifiers. P17 at the moment. Drifting a lot and coming back in straight away. Not happy at all with that lap. Then next is his actual teammate, Trisk, who was on the front row for a little moment until the lap times started to improve rapidly. So, can he do that once again with less than 4 minutes remaining? No, but it is still P4. Very commendable for the team indeed, as Tony Hitala once again goes back onto first and provisional position right there. So a strong performance for him at the moment, but still many drives to come with 3.5 minutes remaining. It's going to get quite exciting indeed. Trying to find another driver on his way. I believe Jeremy Gallagher is actually coming in, I think, and behind him is once again Aaron Ramirez, also has done a hot lap already. So right now it's a pretty much cool down lap for everybody on the track. Perhaps for the NLR drives, I just was thinking, yeah.
Right, I have returned. I have no idea what is happening with my signal, ladies and gentlemen. I am aware that Frost is turning into a little bit of a robot at times. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can do to sort it. Options are, however, very limited, but we've got just under 3 minutes left on the clock. Things do seem to be a little bit more stable now, and Lewis Jones seems to be very stable through Sector 2. He's on a very good lap time at the moment. Will he come into the pit lane at the end? He's a 10.5 improved versus Tony Hitala's lap time, so he could go up.
Let's not do the cameras. Can you see the calendar now? On the stream. And hear me talking. Testing, 1, 2, 3. I think people in the chat can hear me as well. That is excellent.
In between everything else.
Yeah, no problem.
I think you unfortunately may have to do solo comms.
Okay, fair enough. All right. No worries. It happens. Right, testing again. That's the wrong standings, I'm aware. That's from last season, because that's the only thing I didn't update. So let's go back to the calendar. That one is actually up to date. As I quickly go and change the standing thing as well. So hold on for 2 more seconds, and then we're going to be absolutely fine. Once again, apologies about the issues. Sometimes these things happen. There's not much you can do about it. You know, it's annoying, but what can you do? So, confirming to the chat, let me know if you can hear me and see the calendar graphic right now, switching into the updated standings. If so, then everything is well, and I'll show the quali results straight away. We back. Thank you, Max, for confirming. Yes, I will indeed continue as a solo, which is unfortunate. I mean, I think Byron and me work really well together. On the other side, though, I have done solo for, what was it, 3 seasons here in CSS. So it's nothing new for me. It's going to be absolutely fine. Not in frame, but close enough. Oh, right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let me actually change that straight away. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? So the standings then, as we are waiting for the race to get underway, and I'm trying to get the qualifying results to you as well. Let me see if I can find a clever way to do that. I think I have a bit of an idea on how to do that. It's going to be a straight screenshot from the game, by the way. So that's not to be not the most brilliant quality of things I've ever done. But it's going to work. I'm going to tell you that much. Let me see, add another resource right here as I'm taking you with me on what I'm doing. Q results. I'm going to call it that. Thank you very much. Then we are going to the correct location of this particular screenshot, and it's going to be right here. There you are. I believe you and me both can now see the official qualifying results. You can see there confirmed Campbell Adams on pole position, as I completely messed up his name right there, with Tristan Derbycourt P2. Then ET8 have done a brilliant job with both Marcel Pabst and Patrick Deckmeyer, slotting into 3rd and 4th place right there. Then Thomas Laminen for TF10, he's out-qualified both FVR drivers in P5. Then Lewis Jones slotting into 6th place, strong performance there for him as well. It's actually Aaron Raminges in P6, followed by Justin Arts P7, Lewis Jones P8, Tony Hitela in P9, followed by the other VRM driver of Jeremy Gallonier P10, then Vuk Gaika P11, Steven Vaso P12, the only TS driver with Damien Carril, 13th fastest of the lot here in Mexico, then Trisk in P14, Alex Lamas for AMR P15, and then both ABS drivers, surprisingly, at the back of the field pretty much, only ahead of those who weren't able to qualify at all. That is a big shame, and not something they were expecting. At some point in the qualifying session, we saw Exafox actually sitting on the front row, and I'm not sure if Exafox actually tried to go for the soft tires. We're just a little bit too flustered to see what was going on, but I don't think he has, because there were 0 laps driven on those tires. Track was still too wet. And also, as Max pointed out, there would have been a tornado in 10 minutes time. That's literally what the graphic actually said. A bit of a tornado icon, which usually means the safety car would come out in the game. And that would have made things very interesting indeed. But then again, it's going to be a full-on restart of the weather as well. We just played Weather God right here and just changed the weather in Mexico all throughout for the entirety of this race. As you all know, 36 laps are coming up and it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm going to up the volume of my mic a little bit to make sure I often remain in the yellow area on my OBS. Usually makes me feel a little bit better about the volume right there. If there's any issues from my side, make sure to let me know, but I believe so far everything is quite stable. In fact, I do have a camera graphic, but that's only with my own face, and I wonder if it still works today. Looks like you can only see my F1 World car right there. So that's definitely not working properly. Or maybe if I change something like this, I've got an idea on how to actually update this. I'll just become a beautiful white one. Yeah, forget it. It's the face cam not going to work. So then, will allow us to get ready actually, because the lobby is readying up as we speak. It's going to be a good one indeed with, well, let's say Campbell Adams really showing off right there. Lighty in the back. So a pretty big TTM sandwich is what's coming up here in the race. Let's see what Lighting can do from that last position. Same, of course, goes for Mark Schluter, who has only managed, of course, P18 with that qualifying ban. So he's going to have to try and find his teammate ASAP, because right now this could be a good opportunity for them to pound hard on FVR, who are only starting from 7th and 9th. But with the conditions now probably being different, we might see a shift in positions as well. Especially VRM right here, they need a good result to make sure they can stay ahead of EVE. In qualifying, they've done that already. Now they need to do it in the race as well. So, we're about to get underway for those 36 laps as I'm switching to the game overlay already. Of course, you will not have the fancy sponsor boards with me. But of course, the race and all that stuff is more important than that. So, let's get on our way. It looks like, let's see if there's any reactions in the Discord actually on the race right here. No, not really anybody particularly disappointed or surprised by their own performance. We are on track right now. The telemetry for me will update only once the race gets underway. Lighty did indeed have a qualifying ban, Domizzi. He was the one who served it for his team. I can see Steven Vaso joining only now. That might be an issue. Let's hope he can actually pick his car when the race gets underway properly. And let's hope everybody is able to select their car setup. Although Steven Vaso might not be able to anymore. So that might make things a little bit more scary. Already Ace asking in the chat whether they need a restart or not. That might actually happen for Steven Vaso's sake. We are actually getting underway right now. I'm also keeping an eye on the Discord, so that means this start might be an unofficial one for the second time in a row, with Campbell Adams getting away from the line quite well. Nobody, of course, knowing that this is going to be a restart, and there, the confirmation. It is going to be a restart indeed. As otherwise Steven Vaso wouldn't have made it, and that means everybody is going to retire as soon as possible. Let's see how quick it takes for the drivers to realize that things are going to change. Looks like Tristan has gotten the message. Campbell Adams is probably looking behind and trying to figure out what on earth is going on. He just happily keeps driving onward. Several drivers plowing into the wall right there in between turns 4 and 5. How happy things going on right there. Campbell Adams deciding to go and play a little bit of drift as Thomas Laminen happily takes the lead, smashes into the rear of the wall right there. Already right there with a wheel on top of the front of the car. Everything is going quite happily wrong, as it should be, for another restart right there. A restart there, once again confirmed for Steven Vaso's sake, as he was disconnected from the game. And of course, it's only fair for him to race once more. So, that drift through 6 and 7 was cold. Yes, indeed it was. It's always nice to see these drivers going absolutely ham. Exofox is now the only driver remaining, and there he goes, retires as I speak about him, entering the stadium section, and that means the race is going to get underway soon once more. Does allow us to talk about several things that have happened so far this season, and for that I'm going to draw up for myself the spreadsheet on Google Sheets for the standings so far in this season. Already, of course, TES in this little sheet having a band to their name, one of them at least. Damien Carril's got all the pressure on his shoulders to make sure they can keep that third position in the standings, and let's hope for their sake they can keep that one there. As you can see right here, they do have a little bit of a gap to the team in fourth, that is NLR of course, but they are having a strong qualifying tonight, so they might be a potential threat. However, NLR themselves need to watch for TTM, because while they have a driver with a qualifying ban, they also have a driver on pole position with Campbell Adams having pulled out a very magical lap from his top hat. And that means he will be trying to keep that position from the race start. If the previous tentative start from a few minutes ago is anything to go by, he might have a good shot at keeping that pole position, depending on how aggressive Tristan is going to be on the next attempt. And the tires they're going to pick, of course, once again. And that is the other news, is that the weather is going to be dynamic once more. The race that should have happened was going to be sunny all throughout, with the rain chance actually decreasing fast from about 10% to less than 5%, meaning that there would have been no rain whatsoever. So yeah, there's that. But as I say, once more dynamic, and we're one driver short in the lobby at the moment. So we're waiting on this driver. I'm not sure who it is. Let me actually figure that out. I can see 2 VRN drivers. Both ABS are in. TF10 is complete, as is FVR. ET8s are currently with 2 drivers. EVE, both are in. And I think the last one actually joined. So now we're back in business with 19 out of 20. Of course, as I said now many times, TES 1 man down. So yeah, their defense against 3 teams from behind, in fact, because you can see NLR, TTM and ET8 are really close, and all 3 teams have had good qualifyings, with TTM 1 man on pole, 1 man in the back, NLR and the top 10, and ET8 on the second row of the field. They, of course, are going to try and make the most of last week's victory from Aryan Sanga, which did a brilliant job fending off all the feisty drivers from behind. Now, of course, Marcel and Patrick are going to try and step in his footsteps, see if they can do the same thing. At least they are together. They've got a proper cooperation there going on with 3rd and 4th position. So there's that advantage for them. Then there's AMR, currently sitting in P7, and I feel like that could have been a lot more than what is currently happening with them. 103 points. They are 21 points behind P6 at the moment. Of course, P3 is still well within view for them. But especially with the qualifying results from Aaron Dominguez, I think it's safe to say that a lot more was to be expected from the Haas team in this season. I think same goes for VRM. We're currently only in 59 points, sitting in 9th place. Eversio have closed them in to a gap of 14 points. Which means they've got to look backwards as well as forwards, because at the same time they're not that far from ABS anymore either. ABS, of course, had a brilliant potential comeback last week, and then everything got ruined by the final few laps. A lot of incidents happened there. They were very unhappy, as were many of the teams that were potentially on for a win there. And only a few drivers managed to stay out of the chaos. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been with the race in Austria, and potentially the same thing will happen here in Mexico. Same characteristics, few more corners, of course, 7 more to be precise, 3 DRS zones, same as in Austria, all 3 of them with good overtaking opportunities in turns 1, 4 and 12. 12, you'll have to be a little bit more brave than the other 2 corners, but still definitely a possibility there. And I can confirm that we're back again, and it's even sunnier than in the second attempt. The clouds have now all disappeared pretty much. There's a few wisps of white in the top right of your screen if you look careful enough. But other than that, it looks quite safe and quite sunny indeed. Some good news for some drivers, a little less good news for others, especially those who actually shone in these conditions where they managed to make the most of the situation. Now they might potentially struggle. So I believe no driver has left while we were going into the race. So they're all selecting their setups, selecting their tires as well, which I will show you as soon as I can, or mostly usually when the first lap is over. That's the perfect moment to show you the tire information. Wouldn't be surprised if they go for the hards to mediums, but we're going to find out real soon. Once again, attempt number 3 to get underway here in Mexico for round 7, and we are actually go this time round with Campbell Adams from pole, Tristan Derbycourt from second. Who's going to lead into turn 1? Looks like Tristan is going to have the inside, but he has to slot in behind the Ferrari because the Ferrari is carrying some serious speed going into turn 1. No one is able to attack him properly. Tristan Derbycourt remains in second place. Aaron Dominguez tried to pass both of the Aston Martins right there. Very brave from him, but it's cost him dearly. Now he's down to P6. Laminen back into 5th place. Looks like the ETA drivers are swapping positions around as Patrick Dagmeyer takes position number 3 from Marcel Paps. A lot of position swapping, and in the background you can see some disasters unfolding already as Exafox gets a little bit bumpy with some other cars right there, goes through several others, and that might be some front wing damage for one of the Saubers at the very least. One driver that is in trouble is Alex Lamas, now fallen down to the back. Bad news for AMR already. Looks like Thomas Laminen's had an incident of his own as well. Down to 13th already. No good there for TF10. Both of the drivers well out of the top 10, but there's still a long way to go, with Campbell Adams leading from Tristan from both ETA drivers, and now Aaron Dominguez followed by Lewis Jones, Justin Arts, and Tony Hitala has found his teammate, meaning that FVR can once again try to work together as I'm showing you the tires. Everybody, absolutely everybody has decided to go for the medium tires. And that is a very interesting choice indeed. A rare moment of tire choosings of medium only. Usually you see many drivers picking the hard for the first hint. Not this time round though, as they've decided to go a little bit different here in Mexico. Of course, it's a very different type of track compared to most. So that might be the big reason for those choices right here. Damien Carril for TES now up into 10th place. We see a bit of a fight going on behind him as we can see Thomas Laminen and Trisk going side by side, still going side by side, and Thomas Laminen winning out in the end. Trisk having a little bit of a look, trying to go back around the outside, but unsuccessful so far. EVE now down in 13th and 14th. Good news there for VRM. Both cars, the McLaren still ahead of the Alpines right there, with Jeremy Gallagher in P11 at the moment. Thank you for the explanation right there. Being become irrelevant. 6 laps into a stint. Undercut medium hard from hard to medium is overpowered. That is an interesting thing to know indeed. So there's your explanation for that one. Yes, even though I'm a commentator and I've been doing this for quite a few years, there's still a lot of secrets to me about this game, as it isn't a full-time job for me. Just a little bit of a hobby, so to say, to commentate, and I'm still really enjoying it. You know, as long as I get the respect. Anyway, onwards to lap number 3, with DRS wide open, of course, since lap 2 already. ABS is desperately trying to get into the points, trying to get past Lighty. Lighty still in 18th place. He's not been able to make up as much ground as Mark Schluter has. So you can see there confirming front wing damage for Exafox. That might be a problem for him later down the line once the grip of the tires starts to wear up as well. So yeah, the front still looking quite stable. 3rd and 4th still occupied by ET8. They're doing a brilliant job to try and close the gap to 3rd place TES, who are currently in P10, with Damien Carril trying to close the gap to Stephen Vaso. Another rival there for the team of the Williams cars, with Lewis Jones, Stephen Vaso, P6 and P9. Everybody except Alex Lamas is within a second. Also Exafox has left a little bit of a gap due to a lack of downforce, I'm afraid to say. Through Sector 2, of course, it's a big struggle. On the straight, it's not a struggle, and it looks like he's already got a 3-second time penalty to his name. So maybe he's going to swap. Oh, I was about to swap positions with his teammate, but that nearly went horribly wrong for Marvin Golm. as Exavoc retires, and he's got enough already with that broken front wing. Marvin Gom, though, has now got to take over. He's got a 3.9 second gap to the next car. That is massive. Thomas Laminen, in the meanwhile, struggling to keep up there with Jeremy Gallagnier, as he actually managed to get past. Sorry about that. He actually managed to get ahead there of the French driver, trying to get back into the top 10. Potential of fighting there for the win has gone down the drain after an incident in lap 1. So, how is it looking? Exavox has retired. Lighty is already swapped to the hard tires, going for a very long stint all the way down to the end. He's taken some advice from the chat too hard, Lighty has, and is going to try and make it last until the very end, potentially. Even though that's going to be a tricky one, but I doubt he wants a two-stopper, because that's really going to hurt his race and makes this early stop absolutely useless. So there's a big gamble from him. At the moment, he's got nothing to lose. He was struggling to get past drivers, so now he's got some clear air and see what he can do from there. Also wing damage, apparently, so that's even worse for him then. Then he had no choice to take those fresh tires anyway. Campbell Adams and Tristan Derbycourt swap positions. Same goes for Patrick Dagmeyer. Of course, Campbell had no DRS, so no choice but to let them past. He's now managed to split the ET8 cars. Maybe that's a strategic advantage for him right there. Still's got no DRS, but he's got to keep up with the front of the field right now. Tristan Derbycourt for VRM leading the race. That's not something you heard very often in this season yet. VRM leading a race. They need this badly. They want to come back at EVE and strike hard at their nearest rivals. Both ABS and EVE, of course, very close together between themselves and VRM. So they've got a tough job with this man doing a brilliant job for the orange team tonight. Looking a bit further back then, FVR cars have now got an LLR car in between themselves. Lewis Jones has managed to enter the game with them. He's also got Steven Vaso for company. So right now, two teams fighting closely for positions, FVR and NLR. Of course, the Mercedes team doesn't really need to worry about the RB cars because they're far behind in the standings. They do need to worry about the drivers such as Mark Schluter and Thomas Laminen, but they are both far behind. Mark Schluter has now only managed to get past Vuk Gaika. Meanwhile, in the front of the field, looks like ET8 are starting to take control again. Might this be then the late rise of the Aston Martin team, as they've now managed to take first and second place from Tristan Derbycourt. Now with them P1 and 2, they can go and try control the race. Look at the dive bomb from Tony Gitela. That was never ever going to work as he locked up majorly. Took out one of the NLR cars. I believe that was Steven Vaso. You saw it happening in the background. I'm sure Tony Gitela really didn't want that to happen. But the dive bomb was from so far away. And he absolutely locked up the wheels. That is a big problem for him. And for the car he just hit. That is not going to work out brilliantly for him right there. And that might be a potential penalty incoming for FVR. If it gets reported, of course. I saw some debris flying around, but I'm trying to figure out which car exactly has been damaged. I'm afraid to say it is indeed Lewis Jones, the man who fell victim to this whoa, extraordinary move as he tries to get into the pit lane. Nearly pushes Mark Schluter in himself. Not something he wanted to do. Mark Schluter tried to get past, probably not realizing Lewis wanted to pit. And nearly making him force into an unnecessary pit stop. It's quite chaotic at the moment. Apart from what ET8 is doing, they are currently controlling the drivers behind. All Marcel needs to do is make sure to keep everybody behind them, so to say. And they are doing quite a swell job of that one, I have to admit. Campbell Adams taking it easy in P4 from pole position. Looks like he's going to take the most of a good opportunity coming up somewhere in the next few laps potentially. We can see now that the top 9 is separated from the rest of the field. Damien Carril, the last one in tow. Ahead of him, Steven Vaso and both FVR cars. Then there's a group led by Thomas Laminen, with several cars all the way down to 14th place. And he, of course, is desperate to get going. He's also got his teammate Mark Schluter in tow. And all of them are 2 seconds away from the top 9. So they might want to consider a bit of an earlier stop to get those hard tires on. And then get a move on. Lewis Jones in the meanwhile has come out in 17th, 1.7 seconds clear from a lighty and slightly fresher tyres as Vuk has gone in already. Let's see what he's going to do. Potentially some wing damage from him right there. Let's see what happens. No, he's going for a very early pit stop, that's all. Very curious to see where that's going to bring him. We're 8 laps in, so we're past the 6-lap limit that we saw explained in the chat. So that might explain it, although it's quite early, I still have to admit. It's 28 laps he still needs to complete on those hard tires, by which time they will be quite dead, I have to admit. FVR, their main rivals behind them. Thomas Lamminen, Mark Schluter, as Jeremy Gallagher has managed to get ahead of them. He's also managed to close the gap by about half a second to the group in front. And that is, of course, crucial. Of course, not only the TF10 drivers want to connect with that group, I think Jeremy wants as well. He wants to help out his teammate, who is currently fighting on his own in 3rd position against several teams that have got 2 drivers in that group right there. That, of course, being ET8 and FVR. Looks like ET8 have also decided to go for an early pit stop with Patrick Dagmeyer. Same goes for Aaron Dominguez, Tony Hitala. All of them swapping to the hard tires all the way to the end, I think. As Marcel Paps, of course, managed to get some extra DRS from his teammate. Trisham's getting some extra tow from him as well. Let's see what the Aston Martins will be in once both of them have pitted and how powerful the undercut will be already. Campbell Adams getting ever closer there to Tristan Derbycourt. Justin Arts keeping up quite nicely indeed. Steven Vasa now starting to struggle a little bit. Of course, he has to close the gap left behind by some drivers pitting quite early. And in the meanwhile, group number 2, led by Thomas Lamminen, closing the gap to 1.7 seconds. Still pretty much stable right there. Let's see what they can do through the middle sector. Bit of a struggle there from Lamminen. Who knows when they are going to pit. They already know that one of their rivals is pitted already. Tony Hitala now at the moment in P15 as we speak. Patrick Dagmeyer has managed to get away from Aaron Dominguez, and Tony Hitala, the gap of himself is not currently properly up to date against Alex Lamas. You can see there one of the TF10 drivers going in, one of the EVE drivers going in as well. That is Trisk, and that means from that front group only Tristan Derbycourt remains. Mark Schluter is continuing onwards as well, of course, as he's got no choice. Otherwise, they would have double stacked for their team. And it looks like VRM have decided to keep both cars out for at least another lap. That is an interesting strategy. They want the freshest hard tires by the end. Marvin Gomez decided to carry on as well. Same goes for Alex Lamas, who was already a little bit backwards by the end of it, and it might be that Alex is going to sacrifice his own race to help Aaron Dominguez, because there is Patrick Dagmeyer, Marcel Paps already, and his teammate is right behind both of them. So this could be very interesting indeed. There comes Tony Hitala, squeezing himself in between the Aston Martins, trying to go for that coveted race lead, and now is Alex Lamas's turn to mess with the other teams. He's got front wing damage, meaning he's going to hold them all up through the middle sector. There he goes then. Alex Lamas against Patrick Dagmeyer, potentially going to slow him down. Look at that, the gap is very small. Nearly the Aston Martin's nose is within the gearbox of the Haas right there. What is Alex Lamas going to do against the DRS of Patrick Dagmeyer? Patrick is not going to make a move. That means they're going to be slow through the stadium section again. Look at the entire snake forming up behind them. They're bumping into the Haas car already. When is Alex Lamas going to yield? I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into the pits right in this lap. Well, that didn't even terribly wrong. No, he decided to stay out and mess with them even more. But he's got no DRS, meaning defending is going to be properly hard. Patrick Dagmeyer has managed to get ahead already, as are most other drivers right now. Alex Lamas giving his teammate a tow. There comes Aaron Dominguez going up into P5. Many drivers going wide. Is he going to go for the potential lead? Nearly gets taken out there by Patrick Dagmeyer, firmly closing the door on him. For now, though, it's ET8 back in control of the race right there. 1 and 2 returns once more to their ranks. Campbell Adams, Tony Hitala, all of them fighting side by side. What are they going to do right here? Who's going to come off best? Campbell Adams will have the inside again, but it looks like, at least now, Tony Hitala is carrying a tiny bit more grip in that Mercedes as he squeezes ahead of the Ferrari right there.
up into P6 for now, which will soon be P4, of course, once Jeremy and Marvin have pitted. I don't think Jeremy is going to help out his teammate. He's way too far ahead at the moment to be of any use to Tristan. Alex Lamas has done his job, trying to hold up somebody else there in the name of Steven Vaso. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to go pit right now, as his mission is complete. And Ramingus is now in a proper position to go and take the lead. Marcel Paps, though, creating a bit of a gap between himself and his teammate, trying to make sure Patrick can get away from him and potentially secure 2 wins in a row for ET8. But that, of course, is still quite far away. There's still a long way to go. Not even at the halfway point yet. Just in 10 seconds to his name. I've missed that one, so well done for spotting that. That is indeed correct. 10 seconds for Justin Arts. That is no good. Potentially removable, according to Carson. Unless, of course, he sped in the pit lane on his own accord. By his own fault, I have to say. Or maybe he just got bumped into it, which might indeed make that penalty removable. If not, FVR could be in some trouble. Because as you can see, Trisk is doing everything to connect to the front group with both TF10 drivers in tow. And he's doing quite a good job at it. Getting ever closer, 1.1 seconds, of course, on the straights. He's going to suffer, but in the stadium section, he might just make that gap small enough for DRS to get going, unless he makes mistakes like those, of course, which shouldn't happen. He just misses out on DRS. That's going to hurt him badly on the main straight. That might have been crucial there. DRS didn't happen, though. From the field, still led by ET8 and AMR's Aaron Ramingus is going to put them under pressure. Now we're going to see the coordination of the Aston Martins. Can Aaron go anywhere? He can't. Not at least into turn 1. As Trisk gets passed by both TF10 drivers, he's now with his teammate. Both of them again in the points. So good on them. It was an illegal overtake. I see. That was quite the corner cutting then. 10 seconds is quite the severe penalty for a illegal overtake, I have to say. So we'll find out whether that is removable or not once the stewards have had a look at it. And if you're wondering how on earth can your commentator miss that? Well, it's... Ooh, what's happened here? Marcel Papst has suddenly lost a lot of positions right there. Made a mistake somewhere in Sector 2. But as I was saying, how can I miss some things? I'm usually focused on one particular part of my screen. I've got a really big screen. And if I'm focused, for example, right now on the center car, which is Marcel Papst, I can't see the minimap, nor the top of the screen, and potential penalties coming up right there. So there you go. Fastest lap then for Thomas Laminen. He's closed the gap to the front group, and he's back in business in fight with the other cars. There he is, doing his best to make sure TF10 have a shot at the win, and at least to try and attack their rivals. Apparently a screen freeze for you guys. Not on my end though. All still looking quite well. Although actually you might mean Marcel Paps right there with a screen freeze. That might explain his sudden loss of positions as well. Whoa, there goes Aaron Ramingus. Not looking well for him at all. No. He's lost a chance for the lead. Being passed by several cars right now. And it's up to Marvin Gome to decide what to do with the front group. They're still going, the both of them. Both Jeremy and Marvin are still going on those medium tires, interestingly. What is he going to do with this group? He's on his own. He's got no teammate to help out. Is he going to help out another team then? He knows his team is fighting VRM. Nope. Nothing from him right there. And the rest carries on, including Jeremy Gallonier. 14 lap old mediums right now. And still going. There comes Tony Hitala then for the lead of the race. ET8 are no longer together, and immediately they've lost control of it. There comes Tony Hitala into what is technically P1 he goes. Once Jeremy gets out of their way. 3.8 seconds ahead of them. And closing. Looks like he might actually sacrifice his race to help out Tristan. Because the gap is shrinking very rapidly indeed. Thomas Laminen, Steven Vaso. Whoa! Steven Vaso Really wanted to get back past, but no chance being allowed there by Laminen. Same goes for Mark Schluter. He also wants to get past and successfully does so. Now, one car of them in the top 10, one of them on the verge of it, but at least they are together. No other team has 2 cars together apart from them and EVE. Some good coordination now is required for TF10 as their nearest rival is Justin Arts. Only 2 places ahead. Damien Carril's in between them. What are they going to do about that? What is Tony Hietala going to do about it? He's now leading this very large group. DRS back open for the cars behind. Looks like Patrick is going to reclaim the lead. Campbell Adams is going to have a go at it as well. Where is he going to go in turn 1? Looks like Aaron Raminges back in business too after the tiny incident. Whoa! Nearly took the lead there from Patrick Dagmeyer, but not yet. Aaron Raminges. They need this. Their team, his team needs this. There's so much more down in the standings than I think where they should have been with the pace of this man. Only 1 podium so far this season from Aaron Raminges himself. I think it's safe to say he's pretty much carrying the vast amount of points by himself. The majority of points, I should say. And tonight he could turn that golden. But of course, same goes for VRM. They know what's at stake. And there Jeremy is. Wow, look at that! A major queue happening with Jeremy. Wow, that is some interesting tactics. And oh, Campbell Adams getting caught out in the chaos that is being caused right there by Jeremy Gallagnier. He decided to almost come to a complete stop in the final few corners. And I'm sure several drivers are going to be very unhappy about that strategy indeed. But this is his way of helping out Tristan Derbecourt as he retains the lead. He's slowed down to get the DRS. It's worked out for him. He's destroyed his front wing in the process. But at least he's still in P1 and with his rear wing open, he will actually try and keep that lead as hard as he can against Patrick Dagmeyer. This is Sergio Perez from 2021 all over again. Look at that. He's parking his car in the middle of the track. You've never seen a McLaren this wide tonight in Mexico, but he manages to keep them all behind. It's an absolute war zone behind him as everybody's getting confused, irritated and angry. Now Aaron Raminges finds himself in what is technically the lead of the race, and he's got an opportunity to get rid of Jeremy Gallagnier, but Jeremy is going to defend the inside, and what's he going to do? He's going to hold on to that lead. Look at the chaos now happening. What's Jeremy going to do this time? He squeezes behind them at the DRS detection zone. Yes, he does. Once again, Jeremy Gallagnier is going to get DRS. And he's going to try and fight back. Look at that. The entire field almost has returned to this large group right here. The chaos is complete, especially for Campbell Adams, who's now been pushed down to P12. He and his team will be absolutely fuming at the tactics from VRM tonight. But they are desperate, very desperate indeed, in the turn 1 especially, as he wants to claim that lead no matter the cost. Unless, of course, it's his teammate, because his teammate is suffering from the chaos as well. I'm not sure if this is helpful for Tristan Derbecourt at all, because he's losing and gaining positions all over the place. And it might only be a matter of seconds before the major incident happens right here. I think Jeremy is not helping his teammates at all right now. In fact, the only one he's helped is Patrick Dagmeyer, who's escaped from the chaos. 1.8, 1.9 seconds and counting. And Jeremy's battle is over. He's now in P5. He's made his teammate lose positions. He's allowed ETA's Patrick Dagmeyer to escape. I'm not entirely sure what VRM has gained from this. Apart from losing a victory. Because Tristan was definitely in the fight. And look at the bottom of your screen. There goes a very angry Thomas Lemon just barges past the McLaren right there. And in comes Jeremy Gallagnier at long last. And a safety car has come out. For some reason. And it's probably because Jeremy's front wing is lying in the pit entry lane. Goodness me. I'm sure that wasn't part of his plan. But on the plus side, it has allowed all the drivers behind this man to get back to him. That is the biggest safety car so far by some very questionable tactics from Jeremy Gallagher. I mean, of course, as a commentator, you're supposed to be objective, but I think that is objectively questionable tactics. There's no other way to say it. Oh well. Let's see if Jeremy's wing has been replaced as he was in the pit entry lane. Yes, it has. And of course, this is probably going to get everybody to come in and get rid of those tires. And I wonder what the ETA team is going to do. Of course, Marcel is going to hold everybody up to make sure he doesn't get double stacked and get screwed by his teammate. Because they didn't want this safety car. And it has thrown away a big victory for Patrick Dagmeyer right there. Because he managed to get out of it. Out of that whole big chaos. But he's decided to stay out. Everybody is deciding to stay out. Whoa, Aaron Dominguez though. That wasn't smart. Cut the pit entry lane. Got a 3-second time penalty. I doubt whether that one is removable or not. Because he was not sure what he wanted to do. Got into the pit entry. Decided not to do it. Then cut the corner. So I think it's only fair he's got a penalty for that one. Everybody behind the top 6 though has decided to come in. And that is going to be interesting. Who has made the right choice here? Because that means these mediums will have to last for 16 laps. By which time they will be completely dead. However, the hard tires are 10 or 11 laps old. By which time they will be dead as well. So, this might be a game of who can make their tire last the longest. Justin Arts, of course, still out there. If he had served his 10-second penalty, he couldn't get it removed anymore. So, from this group, he had the least amount of choice to stay out. And he's probably happy that he's not the only one who's decided to do so. 6 cars on those hard tires, the rest on fresh mediums, apart from Jeremy and Alex, who've gone to fresh hards. Of course, Jeremy had no choice because he decided to stay out to help out his teammates, which turned out as an absolute disaster for not only his teammates, but for everybody else, including himself as well. I said it was Sergio Perez from 2021 all over again. But you can multiply that by 50. Of course, many discussions going on both in the chat and in the Discord about what just happened. As long as you guys keep it civil. Lap 21, safety car out due to a rogue front wing from a VRM car. As Alex has decided to ditch those hards straight away, agreeing with the cars ahead of him that fresh mediums are the best option. Steven Vaso, of course, has decided to switch tires as well, going for his previous set of mediums. Oh, sorry, that actually was Steven Vaso pitting, not Alex Lamas. Alex is still out there on 1 lap old hards. He's nearly caught up to the group. And it looks like the field is almost complete. We're just waiting for Steven Vaso to reconnect to this entire field. Who has benefited the most from the safety car, I wonder? And I think it's safe to say that it might potentially be FVR and Damien Carril. At least for now, in terms of track position. They are favored the most. Same goes for Trisk in P8 for EVE. Once again, he's ahead of both VRM cars. Probably not something VRM was expecting to happen. But there they are. It is what it is. Several people in Discord are wondering when the report section is going to open. That's after the race, I think. Lap 22 then. Safety car is still out, and with Steven Vasa almost there, I think it's safe to say that it will come in by the end of this lap. Meaning we'll have 14 laps, including lap 23 of racing remaining. And the question, of course, becomes which driver will come out victorious, or more importantly, which team will come out victorious. Right now, ET8 is back in control once more due to the chaos. Patrick got away. They had their finest moment right there, thanks to the chaos. Then the safety car came. But nonetheless, on the plus side, they are still in first and second. Or at least they are again in first and second, because I had lost that opportunity. But they've got a big threat from behind. In the name of the Silver Arrows of Tony Hitala and Justin Arts. They are close by. They've only got Aaron Raminges in between them. And we know Aaron is very quick as well. Although I think it's safe to say that Aaron's penalty is unremovable. So that might really hamper his chances for victory tonight. And the question is, you lot think medium runners will outpace the hard runners? Well, for the first few laps, probably. Depends on how well the top 6 works together. If the previous few laps is anything to go by, only teams will work together. And there might be trouble on the horizon for them. But later down the line, it might turn around. We'll see, because their tires are 10 laps older, despite being the hards. When is Patrick Deckmeyer gonna go? Keeping up to date with Marcel Pabst, of course. And off he goes. Marcel is holding up the rest. Smart tactics there by ET8. And look at that. Aaron Raminges immediately has decided to go for the move on Tony Hitala. Tony has been caught napping, that's for sure, as Aaron Raminges tries to go on the inside. But there is Justin Arts on the inside of the inside. Aaron Raminges, though, fighting hard to keep him behind. He can't, though, because Justin Arts has saved the day for his teammate, who's lost several positions from 3rd to 7th place as he was caught napping hard. Lewis Jones on the fresh mediums has entered the top 5 already, as does Trisk try to get past all of them as well. You can still see the safety car thing at the top of your screen. That, of course, is not true. Don't let it confuse you right there. Tristan Derbicord trying desperately to save his own race. Now down in P8. Lewis Jones in P5. Damien and Tony in serious trouble. They've been passed by many cars already. Down in 9th and 10th and already under pressure from Campbell Adams. As he tries to get past, into P10 he goes. Tony Hitala even down to P12. But he's probably trying to play the long game when those mediums drop off. If they do, compared to those hards, as Vugaik gets a 3-second time penalty. Here they come round once again for the final 13 laps. Campbell is flying, now gonna go get past Damien Carril, trying to stay with the top 8. Lewis Jones now with a great run against Aaron Raminges. What is Aaron gonna do? Defend the inside he is, that's for sure. So that means Lewis gonna have to go around the outside with superior grip. No problem at all there for the RB car, for the NLR team. As they missed a brilliant opportunity last week due to all of the chaos by the end to get a race win. Now he's up to P4. Justin Arts for FVR. Their hope lies with him. Their rivals far behind. Mark Schruter 14th. Thomas Laminen P7. Of course, Laminen is still in the same group, but Justin has the advantage in position. ET8 in control. Marcel Pabst keeping the gap big enough so that he's still got DRS, and to make sure everybody behind him can't get past Patrick. I'm sure that's their strategy all the way until the end of the race. Justin warmed his tires. Well, that explains why he managed to get the superior grip on race restart. But how strong will he be against the medium runners? Because look at the superior grip advantage there from Lewis Jones. No problem at all. Even before DRS is out, he's already passed the FVR driver. Justin Arts out of the podium now. Lewis Jones on the hunt for the top 2. As Thomas Laminen gets past Trisk and Raminges gets overtaken, or sorry, nearly gets past there with Thomas Laminen. Stays ahead for the time being. Laminen being one of those drivers having opted for fresh mediums. They are now 5 laps old, of course. 2 or 3 of them were on the safety car conditions. Wow, he's aggressive right there. He knows what's at stake. He tries to get past his rival, Justin Arts, and he does so. Justin Arts got a 3-second time penalty to his name, loses even more positions. He's now down to P8. He got pushed wide, so even that penalty might be removable. The 13 seconds to his name might all be removable for him, but he's still down to P8, no matter how you look at it. At the end, tires are going to be similar. I think you're absolutely right there, Leonardo. Because while the hards are older, the mediums wear much faster. So it might be anybody's game. Lewis Jones still with the superior grip. Marcel Pops helping out his teammates as much as he can. But I don't think he can keep Lewis Jones behind, or can he? He's using a lot of battery right there. In fact, he pulls away from the RB car right there. Campbell Adams on the offensive against Trisk. Trisk have to go around the outside, then the inside, and then the outside again. The Ferrari managing to pull it off almost. Now Trisk got a good opportunity to get a P6. Lighty there's on a roll as well from the back of the field. Finds himself in P8 against Justin Arts. No, Justin defends brilliantly on the inside. No problem at all there for the Mercedes, as he stays in P8 to save as much of the race as possible. Lewis Jones there tries to get past Marcel Pops, and he does so. There he goes, splitting the ET8 cars, and he doesn't care about the gap to Patrick Dagmar. He wants to keep it as small as possible, as opposed to Marcel. Lewis Jones for NLR. Some major points on the board. They, of course, are rivals. 5th, ET8 for P3 in the standings. His teammate, Stephen Vasa, only 15th. Aaron Raminguez has sunk through the field. What on earth has happened? Once again, a potential good result for AMR. Down the drain, both out of the points. What has happened to Aaron Raminguez? What incident has he fallen victim to? Back to the front though. 4 wide potentially into turn 1. Who's going to come off bad? It's Marcel Papst trying to save the race for his team, but it is Thomas Leminen flying out of nowhere. Started in 10th at the restart, and now he takes the lead of the race. He's done nothing wrong right here. This is crucial for TF10 to close the gap even more and potentially get back in the lead in the standings. Absolutely huge. Huge for the championship. Huge for the team. Tristan Derbecourt also trying to get back in business. After the chaos caused by Jeremy, he's back in the top 4. Patrick Dagmeyer down to P5 at the moment. The hard tires are far worse than those mediums. You can see the difference. It's still very big. Even Campbell Adams is making the move there on the ETA driver who led the race only at the start of this lap. And look at him now, drifting through the stadium, trying to keep Trisk behind. You can also see Lighty approaching fast, same goes for Trisk. And there they all go once again, lap 28, Thomas Laminen with the fastest lap of the race now. Marcel Papst need to stay within DRS range. Lewis Jones coming up potentially for a move to take that second place again. There he goes into turn 1, what's he gonna do? Side by side he goes. Marcel has got no choice but to let him go. The medium's far superior at the moment. And they wonder, when's the turnaround going to come? Tristan Derbecourt also trying to get past. Back into the podium places he goes, and he does so. Wow, look at that. Brilliant racing there from Tristan. He's done nothing wrong here. He needs this. He started on the front row. He wants this victory. He wants the big haul of points to keep EVE at bay and to overtake ABS right now. He's doing a perfect job. Marvin Golm, the only ABS driver remaining in P13. Behind Damien Carril on those old hards. Tony Hitala down to 14th place. That is very, very much out of character for any FVR driver this season so far. There he is. The hard tie is not cooperating at all. And maybe they will not be equal by the end of the race. And even if they are, it's too late. Too little too late. Because all those medium tire runners then have to do is defend. Marcel Papst desperately trying to stay ahead of Campbell Adams. The TTN drivers now together. They can work together. They might now take control of the race. P5 and P6. A potential strong result on the board for TTM, who had a nightmare race last week in Austria. They need this too for P3 in the standings. All those teams fighting for P3, almost all of them, find themselves in the top 6. TTM, ET8 and NLR. Only TES is missing, with Damien Carril in P12, but they still at least have a somewhat of a gap to P4 in the standings. We're approaching lap 30 out of 36. 7 to go. Who is going to come off best? I know the poll has already been done, I believe. Maybe it's a good time to pull out another poll for a few minutes, because the results have been swapped around a lot. We do not see FVR, the top 5 at the moment, which is a rare sight. Thomas Leminen retakes the lead from Lewis Jones. Tristan Derbycourt also getting awfully close to make the move. Marcel Pabst still defending against Campbell Adams. He is starting to find out that those mediums are no longer as fast as they were compared to those hards. So, there might be a chance once again there for the ETA driver. He hasn't lost as many positions as Patrick has. He's still in the shot for victory. He's gonna choose his moment carefully. We all know that chaos can unfold on the final lap with this much money at stake for P1, all the way down to P5. Who wins, the medium runners or the hard runners? Let us know in the chat which tire you think will take victory. There's only one hard runner in the top 5, keep that one in mind. But maybe the turnaround is going to be big by the end of it. Right now, though, the difference is getting smaller. You can still see some advantage in the corners. It's not as big anymore, though. It's not like Campbell is just driving past anymore. In fact, he's actually losing a bit of time on the final corner. Maybe Marcel is going to pull off the win. Maybe the strategy will work out in the end. We'll know in 5 laps' time. Mark Schluter trying to get past as many drivers as well. Now up into P10. Points-wise, TF10 has got the majority of it against FVR, closing that gap even further. Tristan Derbycourt got awfully close to Lewis Jones before turn 4. Wow, look at that! There's Trisk trying to get past both TTM drivers at the same time, but Lighty's having absolutely none of it. Trisk knows that this is a good opportunity for them to close the gap to ABS as well, to get off that cursed last place. He knows that VRM will score more points tonight. Doesn't stop him from trying, though. He's not that far off Tristan anyways. So many teams close together in the standings, fighting it out on track tonight. Vugaika. Whoa, there goes Lighty with a drift. That's not what he wants. I don't think he got tapped there, just lost it on his own, pretty much. An opportunity for Trisk then to get past, as Lighty's got a bit of a gap to his teammate. What is Campbell going to do? He's allowing Lighty to stay close. Trisk has got no chance. The gap remains big. It gets even bigger. Four and a half laps to go, with this one included. Jeremy Gallagher fighting with Marvin Golm as he gets too wide. Gets pushed so wide a little bit right there. Gets 3 seconds to his name. Can he get past though? Past the only ABS driver. Oh, he almost can. Pushes Marvin wide in his turn, but keeping it on the track. Oh, neither of them are too happy with this. And he yields. And now getting under attack from Alex Lamas straight away. Alex is now the front runner for AMR. Oh, never mind, not anymore. Gets spun around, yellow flag out. Disaster for AMR, an absolute disaster class. Not sure what happened to the team tonight. Aaron Ramingus completely lost it at the restart. Maybe he's already destroyed his tires before the safety car. Maybe his tires burned up to temperature. I do not know. We all know that's caused him to drop out of the points from second place. Keep that in mind. Lewis Jones back in the lead. 4 laps to go. And there he is. Alex Lamas retires in the pit lane. Knows he's got no shot at points anymore. And Ramirez has decided to carry on. Points aren't that far away from him. Maybe he can save something. But he and Stephen Vaso are now out of DRS range. Whoa, Fukaika. That's a bit desperate right there. He's also missing a big chunk of his front wing. So that move probably was never going to work anyway. But he tried it regardless. I think at the moment, Jeremy's got the best tires. 14 lap old hards compared to all the others. But he's too far away to have a shot at the win. And the FIA is probably going to swarm all over him tonight. There we go again. The yellow flag, of course, in Sector 1 and Turn 1. That's going to cause some problems for overtaking. Let's hope that Alex's AI is going to move out of the way quick. There comes Marcel Pabst. A resurgence for the hard tires. Where is he going to go in Turn 1? Can he get back into the podium? At least he can't. Lewis Jones is forced to defend and attack at the same time. But Tristan Derbecourt is actually taking 2nd place from the LLR driver. We saw a bit of front wing flying up. Whose was that? I wonder. Looks like that was actually Marcel's front wing right there. Reducing his chances of winning the race on those old hards. And he gets a 3-second time penalty to his name. It's all going downhill for ET8. They had the race under control through 2 or 3 times in this race. And now, with that safety car, it had pretty much ruined it for them. They will be very unhappy with this result. Even if Marcel finishes P4 or maybe even P3. They could have had a 1-2 in the bag. And I think the top 3 cars have a good shot at winning the race now. Although Lewis Jones seems struggling a little bit. Bit of a gap right there. If TTM wants to have a shot at winning the race, they have to go now. 2 laps to go. Campbell Adams getting very close. With the lack of downforce from Marcel Pabst, he's slow in the corners, but really fast on the straights. There he goes. Up into the podium. But where's Campbell gonna go? He's gonna go on the podium right there. Moves Marcel out of the way. And he finds himself suddenly with a shot at the victory. Had pole position. And now he's in P3. As I said, the top 3 cars have a good shot. And now Campbell is one of them. Marcel doing everything to defend from behind. Oh, nearly disaster unfolds again. More chaos then, just like last week, as Lewis Jones gets sent into the wall. Some more FIA investigations potentially on their way. Lewis Jones angrily getting back into P7, Justin Arts trying to pick up the scrambles right there. Pick up the scraps. Still only P8. Tristan Derbecourt, Thomas Leminen going side by side in turn 12. Thomas Leminen taking the lead, but now he will be at a big disadvantage. Campbell Adams trying to get past the Frenchman right there. All of them are slowing down to get DRS. Who's gonna get it? It's Thomas Leminen who's gonna get it. It's a repeat from what we saw before the safety car. Look at this. It's mind-blowing. I've never seen something like that before. They all want DRS and Thomas Leminen is gonna get it. Who is right and who is wrong right here? Is Tristan gonna send it in turn 1? No, it's Marcel sending it in turn 1. Trying to get onto the podium despite his broken front wing. Lighty nearly losing it. Campbell down to P7. I couldn't write it in a script for you if I wanted to. There comes Marcel Pabst again. His tires are now better, but his front wing is worse. So it equals it out. Lighty from last to 4th place. His teammate has now dropped down. He's the one to pick up the scraps for the team, but it's not going to be a podium. Or maybe it is. I mean, these results are probably going to be very provisional with other potential incident reports coming up. But for now, though, it looks like Thomas Leminen has got it done. Thomas Leminen has managed, potentially, without penalties yet, to get it going for TF10. He's turned it around, and he's going to win, at least for now, in Mexico, with Tristan Derbicourt in second and Marcel Pabst third, taken by Lighty. Campbell Ellis in P4, Mark Schluter P5, then Marcel Pabst in P6, Lewis Jones 7th, Marvin Goh in P8, Trisk finished in P9 by the end, Tony Hitala all the way up to P10, Stephen Vaso 11th, Jeremy Gallagher P12, Aaron Ramingus 13th, Justin Arts 14th with all those penalties, potentially removable. Patrick Deckmeyer, saw him getting a 10-second penalty by the end of it. Not sure what happened. P15, Damien Carril retired in the end. Fukagaika only finished now. Man. I will be honest. I do not know if Lamanen will win this race properly, because he did the same tactics as Jeremy did. Slowed down big time, causing a lot of chaos potentially, but everybody slowed down, so maybe he's not the only one to blame there. But I'm going to say, that's the only thing I can safely say, these results are very provisional. Some penalties will be removed, a lot of penalties will probably be applied. So this is what it is right now. Thomas Lamanen first, Tristan Derbicourt second, Lighty third from 19th. So well done to him. I think very few drivers managed to stay out of trouble. I think Lighty definitely was one of them. And that's the reason why he finished in third. And he might get some more out of it, depending on what happened when the FIA has had their say about it. Man. I need to take a breather right here. So many things happened. I wonder if they even want to give us an interview. I'll tag them, but I can't promise anything. Let's see. Also use my fancy stream deck to switch you all over to this fancy interview screen. There we are. Hoping the Discord thing will work as well. If, of course, any of the drivers are going to join us here tonight. Maybe they need to blow off some steam first. I wouldn't be surprised of that. As many drivers right now in the Discord are voicing their disapproval of the race. And that is... it's the kindest way of putting it, I'm afraid. Man, oh man, what a race. What an absolute race. I did indeed not scroll down the results, but you know, there was so much to talk about. Looks like at least someone has managed to get it going, so that is great. I shall be sacked in the morning, apparently. And it also looks like we've got nobody joining here tonight for an interview. I also realized that Discord is not picking up my microphone anyway. That's annoying. There you go. Now it's working again. But yeah, there's no driver pulling up. So it is what it is. The only thing that isn't what it is the race results, that's for sure. We'll have to find out what happens there. We're going to find out how many drivers will go and get penalties. Some of them were quite obvious, some of them perhaps not so much. We'll have to see which teams think which incidents are report worthy. So that's all I've got to say on it, I'm afraid. These are the standings as they are before this race. Who knows what they will be after it? TF10, will they close the gap even more to the FVR? How about the fight for third place between TES, NLR, TTM and ET8? AMR's had a horrible day, so has ABS. VRM though, potentially, brilliant result. EVE tried to limit the damage, might potentially overtake ABS then. We could potentially see ABS in last place. That would be rather painful for them, I'm afraid. So it is what it is, as I said. And it looks like we're going to leave it at this tonight. Despite all the issues, I hope you have enjoyed this race. It's been quite the chaotic one. A lot of things happened. A lot of question marks raised and a lot of reports coming up. But from my side, very enjoyable as usual, despite all of the stuff happening. It was still a race to remember, that's for sure. Let's have one look at the calendar before we part ways. Next week, we'll be going to Singapore. That is going to be another brilliant one, I'm sure. On February 8th for the PC division. Of course, tomorrow there will still be Mexico City again for the console division. Both PlayStation and Xbox taking the fight to the track. Let's hope for their sake it will be a little bit less chaotic. But again, Singapore next, then a break week, followed by China, a mystery Grand Prix, Saudi Arabia, and finishing it off in style in Abu Dhabi on March 15th. That's still a little bit away. But we'll see which team comes off best by the end of it. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Next week, same place, same time. Until then, goodbye.